Last night we were at Wembley with the World Cup winners. This morning we're back at the start of a long road back to Wembley. We're at the Shay for FC Halifax Town in the first round of the FA Cup. Charlton are the visitors. They were the victims of a shock at this stage as recently as 2009. And they're the biggest scalp on offer this weekend as they top League One. FC Halifax Town some 3 leagues below them in the Conference at North. Good morning and welcome to the Shay. Kickoff here is at 12:30. Plenty of time to show you no fewer than 111 goals from the first round so far, and we'll have the draw for the second round at full time. Gareth and Andy have made the journey up from Wembley for today's game, and it's great to be here, isn't it, Andy?
Brilliant. I love these occasions, Adrian. I do. I played non-league football myself, was fortunate enough to play in these particular games for a non-league team, Weymouth, many years ago against Millwall, a first round match for me. We didn't win, but you turn up in hope, full of expectation, and you're really up for it. And it's always such a nice time of the year, I think, to get involved with these games. I think it's brilliant.
Because often the Cup throws up these games where it's plainly a mismatch. But say Crawley versus Man United last year, several leagues apart, but they're all full-time players. The gulf here is bigger in the sense that, isn't it, that the home side, Halifax, are part-timers, and that must make all the difference.
Well, it does in terms of how much time the manager's got to prepare his team, but you must never overlook the fact that lots of amateur players or part-time players have had a background with professional clubs. There's a lot of talent in the lower leagues, and sometimes they can earn more by playing part-time and having a job rather than going into League 2 or League 1. So you do get quite a bit of talent in those lower divisions. And
the flip side of the coin, what about Charlton coming here now, looking at the players on this pitch in the drizzle now, just getting a feel for it. What's going through their minds?
Well, I think for them, they're going very well in the league, so the danger is that they don't approach the game seriously. They'll have quite a few youngish lads in their side that maybe haven't been in this sort of environment before, won't realise that the team in the other dressing room have quality and have a desire to turn them over. So their older, experienced players will realise what's coming. The younger ones will be in for a bit of a shock. I mean,
there are Charlton fans here today, I expect, who made the trip to Northwich a couple of seasons ago.
I was there. I was commentating with Peter Drury that day, and we were watching that, and they were beaten by, again, a non-league team that got the ball down and played. They had long throw-ins that they used very well. I remember on the day, this is Wayne Riley, when he put this in, Peter Drury nearly fell out of the commentary position and got that excited. But it was a really good game, and it wasn't, and there was nothing to choose between the two sides. They were enthusiastic. They were prepared to get the ball down and play, and I think that's certainly more apparent now than non-league football in my days. That these teams now are prepared to get it down and knock it about.
Well, plenty of football to show you before kick. Welcome back to the Shay. After wins over Tadcaster Albion, Lancaster City, and the exotic-sounding Solihull Moors, FC Halifax Town face an altogether different proposition today. The League One leaders are here. Charlton Athletic at the Shay in the first round of the FA Cup. Today marks something of a high point for a club that went out of business in May 2008. But back-to-back promotions under the former Leeds player Neil Aspin mean they are a club on the up. A win today would be their biggest cup upset since they saw off Man City in 1980.
You're the shaming of Halifax Town.
Perhaps Henry has found it.
Chirpy music, mud, sweat, sideburns. Perfection. How things have changed. They've even got a banqueting suite now, for heaven's sake.
We don't want anybody thinking we're Billy Big Time or whatever, because we're not.
I'll never get big time, don't worry. Just the players who are big time.
Look for a cowfield, get a billiards table.
Pitch is looking too good. Most of the teams in our league, they want to play football. They will try and play football. They don't just bang the ball forward, they try and play. That's what we'll try to do as well.
And where Charlton should be shivering, only warmth. Could you at least turn the heating off on the day? I don't know what the weather forecast is.
Well, I know we'll have to. We just need them to lose the way to the pitch, don't we?
3 years ago, Halifax Town went bust. Where did all the money go?
I don't know.
Since their name change and rebirth, their progress has been rapid. Neil Aspin's been the mastermind. Everyone up and down the country remember you as being sort of follically...
Yeah. I mean, I don't mind taking that off.
We've had 3 full seasons, 2 promotions, 2 championships, and you know, it's a harder step up for us this time, and we're just working hard to see what we can do.
It's been a while since Halifax were knocking on the door of national attention. Their promotion to the league in '98, probably their last high tide mark. Jeff Horsfield, now coaching at Port Vale, was the star man on less than star money.
£120 a week I were on, but I were earning £250. I would think Brick Lane, more or less £50 a day after tax and things like that. So you're earning more on a building site than playing for Halifax.
A diligent taxpayer, a prolific striker.
A good set of players playing for us at that time, winning the conference, so it was a good club, yeah.
Bought by Kevin Keegan for £300,000, they still remember him well, especially Ellie the kit man.
Know Jeff really well, had some great times with him. He was a great player and character for us at the club.
Every club needs an Ellie.
We used to train on Tuesdays and Thursday nights when Jeff played with us, and there were often times he couldn't get here because of his work, and he was painting pylons in Ireland, and he was doing all sorts of other different jobs.
Some things haven't changed.
I don't really get involved in what profession they do, and I'm only concerned that they get here for training.
Market gardeners, fitness guys, and
I'm
so
not
on.
interested unless there's a candlestick maker here. Or
No.
There'll be nobody who plays for Halifax that wears a pair of pink boots, shall we say, or bright yellow or whatever.
Nicholas Bentner, you ain't coming. It's not him. One director, Bobby Ham, formerly of Preston and Bradford, will need strapping down in the posh seats. Have you ruled yourself out for Sunday?
Just about, yeah. Unfortunately, I've still got a dicky knee, otherwise I would have been available.
Do you recognise a bit of you in them?
Yeah, I think so, yes, because, you know, they genuinely love the game.
It's going to be like their cup final, hopefully. If they, I think if they get in the face and do the right things, the basics right, they'll have a good chance.
Charlton have only one chance to beat us that Saturday. We're ready for them.
They'll be talking about that in Yorkshire and further afield for quite some time to come.
We'll still be talking about it now, about the pitch as much as anything else.
Wow.
Those were the days, weren't they? Blimey, it's a different game on there.
Imagine the manager saying, now come on, get out there and knock it about a bit. Let's get the ball down and play. I mean, look at it. It's incredible, this surface, but it's very much commonplace.
Yeah, people wouldn't believe, would they? If, you know, youngsters growing up wouldn't believe that pitches used to be like that. But
yeah. And it's not because it was Halifax. I bet you're back at Main Road.
Yeah.
City's pitch at that time of year probably wasn't a whole lot better.
Absolutely, and you see from the surroundings the improvements that have gone on here as well off the field. Yeah. Fantastic, great pictures, aren't they?
I mean, these were the days of team baths. Can you imagine the colour of that water after you've been playing on that and then climbed in the bath? It's a massive challenge for them today. It's a point worth emphasising. They're part-timers. They're not going to have that level of fitness, are they?
Shouldn't do. I mean, I think that's one of the advantages for Charlton. You would expect the longer the game goes on that they get the upper hand. But having said that, the adrenaline, you know, reading through the programme, all the lads are talking about the chance to be live on national television for them. Goodness me, they'll run through anything for however long it takes to get a result today. So I think that extra impetus for them of it being their biggest game ever will provide the incentive.
And I've done that where you go to work and then you wait for the weekend to come around to get involved in a game like this.
Makes it better in a way. If it's not your job, then...
No one feels tired, no one's talking to tiredness or being a bit jaded or whatever. They've been working flat out all week, having to train in the evenings. And they'll turn up here today, Adrian, absolutely ready to give everything.
I think Peter Drury was talking to Neil Aspin, and Neil described himself as an industrious player.
Yeah.
But he, as you said, like a lot of clubs, they want to play football a bit. They want to pass it about.
They've got an opportunity on these sort of surfaces now to get the ball down and try and play. And we've seen all the in the goals package that we've just shown. We've seen some genuine, real high quality goals. And I think it's all credit to the managers in the lower leagues that are encouraging players to get it down, knock it around and enjoy themselves, because that's what we want to see. We love to see a shock, and we like the FA Cup always brings that up and atom kind of feel about it. But I think we are seeing a different culture and a different era of amateur player now that really want to play.
Well, Neil Aspin will have to do with that one of his main goal-scoring threats today. One, James Dean. Less rebel without a cause, more rebel in the sin bin today. He's with Ned.
Yeah, Adrian, I'm here with arguably the most frustrated man in the shade today, James Dean, the Halifax talisman. He picked up a red card against Guiseley a couple of weeks ago, and then that was a 3-match ban and then a 6-match ban for, should we say, laying hands on the referee?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it was, they said I manhandled the referee, but, you know, in these days you obviously can't touch him. But I was absolutely devastated, you know, when the news came across, and unfortunately it's one of them things.
You must be gutted to be missing out, but you've got a flavour of what's going on in the dressing room. I mean, what are they saying? How are they going to set about beating Charlton?
I mean, I was in the changing room, you know, listening to the team talk, and the lads are really calm, you know, they're not nervous, they look relaxed, and the gaffer's just said to them basically, just go out and enjoy yourselves. And as you can see today, the atmosphere is, you know, unbelievable, and the fans are going to get behind the lads, you know, and everyone's just got to work together and, you know, do the best. But most importantly, you know, the gaffer said, just enjoy yourselves, don't be worried, don't be nervous, you know, the pressure's on Charlton.
James, enjoy your day if you can. Thanks.
Cheers, thanks a lot.
Let's have a look at the Halifax team then. That was James Dean, who is not on it for, as he said, laying hands on the referee.
Yeah, which you seem to think in the past you could do. I don't quite know where we got that.
Certainly before your time.
There we go.
So what should we look out for here?
Well, Lee Gregory is their top scorer, 10 this season. So, but look, it's a day for any one of them to go and make a name for themselves, isn't it? Whatever's gone before in their careers, this is their moment in the spotlight.
I just think Simon Eastwood as well in goal. We saw some perhaps not such special work between the sticks in some of those goals that went in earlier. So let's hope he has a strong day today as well.
Well, I suppose from Charlton's point of view, they would rather come here and play a team that tried to play football, as we keep saying they do, rather than like the old days at this level. You just lump it up and let's have a real battle.
No, absolutely right. You know, there's nothing worse than as a so-called superior team turning up at a non-league ground and then finding a team playing very, very physical football against you. So I think Charlton will welcome the fact that this Halifax side want to get the ball down and knock it around, and I think they'll be very pleased about that.
Well, stay with us as we'll hear from a man with a lot to make up for after the break.
60. Northwich Victoria from the blue square north.
Number 12.
Against Charlton Athletic, second in League One.
That's Chris Powell rather carelessly helping draw Charlton against the Conference North side 2 years ago, and then watch them go and get knocked out there. We'll be with the Addicts boss next. Welcome back to the Shay, where the cheerleaders are giving it some hammer, as we say in the West Midlands. FC Halifax Town versus Charlton coming up very shortly in the first round of the FA Cup. Halifax players in their dressing room, cool, calm, considered, concentrating, waiting to go out. Rather less cool, calm, and considered. Well, they're cool anyway. Cold even. You can't actually even blame alcohol for this at this time of the day, I would have thought, but that's the spirit. Don't want to see quite so much underpants from the gentleman on the left, if possible. We'll keep an eye on him for later. Neil Aspin's doing a good job here at Halifax. Chris Powell's making no less a fist of it. For Charlton, though, less than a year since he took charge, but they're 5 points clear in League One as they look to move back up the ladder where they probably belong. Ned's been speaking to Chris.
Well, Chris, one or two key names missing from the team sheet, but other than that, you've picked a very strong team. Were you tempted to rest a couple more?
No, not at all. I giving full respect to the competition and to Halifax, and you know, I feel we're in such a good place at the moment that I want to keep the momentum going. So I'm obviously mindful of the fact I've got one or two players that need games, and you know, I've got a good squad. So I just want to let them have 90 minutes, and hopefully they'll do the job for us today.
Of course, the club and the supporters are still scarred from a couple of years ago and exiting at this stage at the hands of Northwich. You drew that name out of the hat in those days, didn't you? That was quite a blow for the club at the time, wasn't it?
I'm sure it was. Obviously, I wasn't at the club then, and I suppose many fans couldn't blame me for it. But you know, it was 2 years ago, and I think we're trying to move on and create our own sort of future and new history. And you know, so far so good. But obviously, it's a big game today.
And what do you make of the opposition? You'll have had them watched, I'm sure. And what sort of football do they play? What sort of a game are you expecting?
Tough game, you know, a good football inside. You know, Neil Aspin and Lee Nogan, two football men that have been around for a while, and we've watched the DVDs, we've had them watched, and we're giving them the full respect that they deserve, you know. And obviously today, big game for both teams, but obviously they'll be very enthusiastic. They're going to try and make it very tough for us, and we've got to match that first before we try and, you know, put our own stamp on it and our own game plan.
Good luck.
Thank you.
Chris Powell, Charlton's boss, going swimmingly for them at the top of League One, Andy.
Brilliant, going very well, and all credit to Chris, because it's a new club. You can't even call it just a new team. I mean, he's brought in that many players. It's like, what was it, 19, Gareth, I think,
yeah,
something like that, the last count, which is an incredible amount of guys to bring in and to bed them in so quickly and to get them going in the manner that they are is a fantastic achievement. All credit.
I was with Chris in the week. I mean, I was an apprentice at Crystal Palace with Chris, and he was just saying that when he went back to Charlton last year, I mean, he had a terrible start as manager. They lost, you know, nearly every game at the end of last season. But he said there was such a negative atmosphere around the whole club because they'd had relegation after relegation, disappointment, and he just felt the whole thing needed flushing out, and that's why he moved all the players that were out of contract off, 19 new players in, and the start's been fantastic.
But just re-enthusing the club is difficult after they've drunk at the top table. There'll be Charlton fans now who can't get especially excited about being at the top of League One.
No, absolutely right. I know that I was talking to some Charlton fans recently. 23,000 they had recently down at the Valley, you know, which is, and I grew up watching Charlton at the Valley. My dad used to be a Charlton athletic player, and I used to go down there and watch them. And it's great to see that a club like that have been through the mill themselves, a little bit like Halifax. They've had some very lean times. Is kind of fighting its way back, and I'd love to see them once more, you know, really playing against some of the bigger times.
It sort of depends when you're born as a fan, doesn't it? Because some fans will only remember Charlton as a Premier League club, but I mean, they used to ground share at Crystal Palace, nearly went out of business through that period, or the really older fans will remember the Valley in its heyday.
Well, that's the problem. Inevitably, most fans start supporting clubs during a good run because that's what intoxicates you. So
definitely, but it's great for Chris. I mean, he really had to work his way through it as a player. I remember he had to go to Aldershot on loan and ended up at Southend and ended up as an England international. So really,
so we're all pleased for him, but we're here today hopefully to watch him win.
Because today it's a different one for them. The start of the season, as Gareth said, has all been about this new team, this new club really bedding in. Now they come here today expected to win, and they'll feel a different kind of pressure today, and it's not always so comfortable.
Here is the team. Who should we look out for?
Well, Captain Johnny Jackson, who was at Tottenham as a youngster, has been in good form. Jason Yull, very experienced up front, and Hayes, who was a prolific partnership with Gary Hooper when they were at Scunthorpe together. So, you know, he's got plenty of firepower. But as he said, he's giving one or two players. He doesn't play Bradley Wright-Phillips today, who's been on fire. He's hoping that his squad players can come in and have enough to win the game, really.
What would he be saying to them, do you think, now?
I think he'll be saying, look, they're in very good form, that there's no reason why they should come here and adopt a different attitude, that don't be part of don't make it a big day for FC Halifax, don't let them get their tails up too early on in the game, and get the ball down and play and with some authority.
Okay, it's about 5 minutes to kick off here at the Shay. Nice baubles there, I must admit. Give us a good shake. It's FC Halifax Town against Charlton Athletic. It's coming up next. Welcome back to the Shay. FC Halifax Town can join 17 other non-league sides in the hat for the second round draw in around 90 minutes' time. Let's join our commentators for the day. Jim Beglin alongside Peter Drury.
Thank you, Adrian. A day the like of which the dear old Shay thought it may never see again. Teams led out this Remembrance Sunday by servicemen Major Steve Ward, Corporal Danny Horsfield, Lance Corporal Robert Swindles of the 3rd Battalion Yorkshire Regiment, and behind them in blue, some proud men. Proud town, proud club. FC Halifax Town, a club re-incarnate. My goodness me, this club has fought for its life down the years. More than once it has nearly ceased to be.
but somehow it has stayed alive, and today it is positively kicking. This is the first time that the reborn FC Halifax Town has played in the FA Cup proper, led there by captain Tom Baker, a locksmith, little man with a big heart. And this is the first Charlton team to travel to the Shay since August 1974. From Valley Floyd Road to the Calder Valley. Halifax fans have been sweating all week on the fitness of top scorer Lee Gregory, who pulled up lame in the fourth qualifying round winner Solihull Moors. But he has made it, he's an electrician. This 11 also contains a gas man, a fireman and a locksmith. It doesn't contain regular target man James Dean, who serves a suspension, nor winger James Marwood, whose parent club Gateshead won't let him play. So Gregory and fans' favourite Danny Holland come back into the side that beat Gloucester last week. So Danny Holland for Halifax, Danny Hollands, plural, in the Charlton side. Plural being most appropriate since he recently became a father of triplets. And Hollands is a constant in a team which has changed for the first time in a month. Scott Wagstaff, the sole survivor of the Northwich aberration 2 years ago, comes in and starts on the right. Cameroonian Cedric Evina comes in at left back, and in place of Wright Phillips and the rested Kermagant, it's an experienced front line, Paul Hayes and the evergreen Jason Ewell. 10 goals for Halifax's number 10. Their top scorer this season, his involvement key. Neil Aspin was a muck and nettles centre-half. He's turning out to be a very successful manager, the Blue Square North Manager of the Month, on the back of 2 full seasons at this club, 2 promotions, 2 titles. Nor is Chris Powell having a shabby time. He's clearly enjoying his afternoon, a man who made his England debut the last time England beat Spain. At the back of the shot there, David Bosamworth, the chairman, who picked up the pieces of this club a little more than 3 years ago. Bobby Ham, director, alongside him. Our old colleague John Helm, loved in these parts for his voice down the years and for his still childlike enthusiasm about local sport. He is part of the scenery too. The referee here has first-round form. A year ago, Jeff Elchingham was in charge when FC United of Manchester won in the last minute at Rochdale. Contrast of the captains, though, is stark. Johnny Jackson, a one-time Premier League player with Tottenham Hotspur, shaking hands with Tom Baker, whose past was at Bradford Park Avenue. Charlton Athletic, the FA Cup winners of 1947, reached the 3rd round last year and lost at Spurs, but still haunted by defeat at this stage at Northwich 2 years ago. And now, before the sport, this community, in common with countless nationwide, makes its public observance of Remembrance Sunday.
Of all the wars and conflicts that Great Britain has been involved in. This silence will begin and end on the referee's whistle. So we're now going to today's match referee.
And it is with profound gratitude we remain free to enjoy days of fun just like this one. They'll need to be bonded. 2 years ago, Northwich broke Charlton apart. For 100 years, there's been a football club bearing the name of this town. It is 3 years since the current chairman began regrowing this incarnation of it out of the ruins of its predecessor. And here is the biggest day in the short new life of FC Halifax Town. It is a tie that smells of roast beef and Yorkshires, quintessentially English. Sunday lunch, the very essence of the competition. Super occasion, Jim Beglin, one-time cup winner. What about the match?
Yeah, well, I think as always, Peter, in this type of cup tie, I think the league side will want a solid, robust start. So I think Charlton in that little huddle we just saw prior to kick-off, we're saying exactly that. You know, don't give them any early encouragement. And I think for Halifax, I think if they can turn their enthusiasm and their desire to do well today into the first goal, then that could be a huge step for them. First goal is always important in these.
At the back of Garner by Hughes, driven forward by Toulson, taken up here by Gregory, who ran through the centre-half, Gregory, and was denied at full stretch by the retreating Andy Hughes. It is the Shaman who have the first glance at goal. Garner. Another thrusting run, this time from Rainford. And this is a really good up-tempo start.
Well, I was just talking about desire. Lovely little flick from Holland. Gregory does it ever so well just to kind of find his way through, and it's still great heart from him trying to retrieve it. You know, that's a good bold run early on just to put Charlton under pressure at the back.
Gregory, who joined Halifax from Mansfield last Christmas Eve after a successful loan spell, scored 17 goals in the second half of last promotion season. He's playing here alongside Danny Holland, wearing 9, who is a great character. They love him around the place here. Proper Yorkshireman, who might well be playing at a higher level were it not for the fact that one of his knees is entirely without cartilage, and no one can afford to risk paying him a fee. The left back is McManus with the throw. Got it back from Garner. Neil Aspin, who is sturdy, straight talking, not outspoken by any manner of means. He speaks when he needs to, and gets his message over. Driven by Rainford. Came out for Hayes, whose touch was thick, and driven away by Chris Solly.
But what a good start. I mean, Neil Aspin has got to be delighted with the early stages so far. It's nice and aggressive with conviction, and there's a good boldness about what Halifax are doing so far.
Semi-finalist with Leeds in the mid-80s. Neil Aspin went on to have super days in this competition with Port Vale. And being at Vale Park one night when they beat Everton in a fabulous floodlit replay. He was part of all that. But here is Ewell. Set back for Jackson. The header away was by Danny Lowe. Solly, neatly on by Hollands. And out for Garner. Early ball from Baker. Asking Gregory to chase.
Yeah, just gave him a little too much to do, but you'll see that from Halifax. The front three are allowed to swap position, rotate a little bit at times. The kind of central three are pretty compact, but having said that, both Baker and Garner will have a little drift forward. They'll get up and support whenever they can.
Vina there, the Cameroonian left-back, is one of the changes from an 11 which has been unchanged for the last month until today. He comes in for Royce Wiggins, former Arsenal trainee. The centre-halves haven't changed, and Taylor is one of them. Now Vina, face-to-face with Holland. That's Hollands. Solly. Morrison. Ewell has come deep in search of possession. Header away by Hogan. Vina. Jackson. Hollands. This is Wagstaff. Jackson. Behind is by the experienced Paul Hayes, to whom Chris Powell affords 90 minutes today. He really is the most affable of individuals, Chris Powell. Hasn't had an awful lot of luck in the FA Cup himself. A couple of quarter-finals, one with Charlton, one with Derby. Went to Wembley in 1987 as a Spurs fan and saw them lose to Coventry. You see before the game that he drew out the Charlton-Northwich tie 2 years ago for the FA. Keith Houchin, who scored that famous cup final goal, was responsible for this draw. Jackson.
Yeah, we've seen Jackson on the left-hand side, tried to get a couple of crosses into the box. Not his best so far, but he's got a lovely left peg. He can spray a pass and he can deliver a beautiful cross. So I think Ryan Tilson's got a job to get nice and tight on Johnny Jackson today and not allowing the room to get those balls in. That's what Charlton needed, wasn't it? After the little opening flurry from the home side, just get a good feel of the ball and just lost it again.
Holland. Sliding challenge from Andy Hughes. Medina can't keep it alive, and Halifax have a throw in an advanced position, and over to take it here is their right full-back Ryan Tilson, who can get distance with these. Chooses otherwise on this occasion, gets it back from Baker. Tilson lifts it in, it's Rainford round the back, and Solly playing safe at the expense of a corner. For the corner, Scott McManus. In by Garner. Holland kept it for Hardy. Couldn't keep it under control. Simon Garner, who's a fireman. In his second season since arriving from FC United of Manchester. Scored one of the goals in the third qualifying round at Lancaster. Big Roses battle that was. Which got a bit feisty off the field, actually.
Well, watching him play reminds me a bit of Neil Aspin and the attitude he had.
400 or so, they reckon, have come up from Charlton. Terrific support, partly paid for by the club, largely paid for by the club, including first-team squad players. They laid on some free coaches for the hardiest of supporters. And in that regard, these clubs do have something in common. Through all their highs and lows, they've always, both of them, been really rooted in their communities. Forward by Hardy, taken on by Baker. That's a pretty rigorous challenge from Danny Hollands.
Yeah, and it's that kind of surface today, isn't it? Everything's just a little quicker off it. It's just kind of flashing off the grass. And you've got to time things right, and he's just slightly late, isn't he, with that one? Just got into Baker.
Garner offers a left-footed option here. It is in by Garner. He can follow it up. McManus wins the throw.
Important as well for Charlton. You want your centre-back strong earlier on, repel anything that comes in. Both Morrison and Taylor have done that. No tells here.
Scott McManus was part of the FC United of Manchester team last year that beat Rochdale. He's got a muscular throw aimed towards Holland, and that has gone behind of Andy Hughes. There's a player who knows about the ups and downs of the FA Cup in recent years, Hughes of Charlton. He was in the Leeds team that lost at Histon 3 years back, and the Leeds team that won at Old Trafford 2 seasons back. But he's conceded this corner. Garner is taking it, Hogan's competing for it. It's come out to the skipper here, Baker. Garner. Out by Solly. Pounced upon by Hughes, through by Hayes. Wagstaff went to ground and wanted a free kick. The referee wasn't having any of it.
Yeah, if there's any contact with Hardy trying to get back, then I think it's purely accidental. I think that just legs came together.
Baker. By Avina, and Hayes is offside. Wagstaff is still in the ear of the referee.
Yeah, well, he's having to go at the assistant because he feels that he was probably best placed to see it. Just breaks here, and he thinks he's away. It is accidental. There was no kind of effort at all to trip him.
Very few survivors in the new Charlton regime. Chris Powell brought in 19 new players over the summer as they ripped it up and started all over again. Wagstaff actually the sole survivor of their hideous day at Northwich 2 years ago, a game in which he came on as a substitute.
Well, comparisons were bound to be made, Peter. I remember that day. I mean, Northwich had a serious long throw weapon which caused Charlton all sorts of problems. Big Matt Bailey, the centre-back, I think it was Herring's long throw, but I think on the day Charlton just didn't turn up. And you're looking at a very different Charlton side now, literally. But this is a much more focused, much stronger Charlton team.
Incidentally, their manager that day, Phil Parkinson, has a job just down the road here now at Bradford City, and pleased for him to see them beat Rochdale in the Cup yesterday. In by Solly, out for Baker. Newell actually is operating from relatively deep for Charlton, with Wagstaff very often up alongside Hayes. Morrison, Hayes, Avina, Hollands, Garner's missed-time tackle. Jackson, Avina, good-looking ball. Out by a prone Hogan. Thompson just about got away with his square ball.
Oh, he tried to look really cool about it as well. His heart for a moment must have fluttered. But you could see, I mean, as soon as Charlton get the ball, the 4-3-3 that Halifax have set up, it becomes a 5 across midfield.
Forward by Danny Lowe towards Rainford. So John Sullivan gets a touch. Charlton goalkeeper who's only played once in the League Cup, once in the Johnston's Paint Trophy this season, lost both of those games. Overdid it for Wagstaff. It was a perilous moment though for Ryan Toulson. He was inviting on Paul Hayes. Toulson actually made his debut for Halifax 7 years ago today in the FA Cup against Cambridge United here. That was the old Halifax Town, and that was the last time, 7 years ago, the last time Halifax won a game in the FA Cup proper. But he is moving things in a direction which suggests they may be changing that before too long. Holland was close to getting dangerously in behind Taylor.
Yeah, well, the centre-back certainly got caught under that one, and he was lucky it just kind of bounced away. But, I mean, Holland is dangerous like that. He scored a cracker last week away to Gloucester, and flicking it over his centre-back and banging it in the corner.
Solly. Hogan.
I mean, that ball has travelled a long, long way, and you really expect your centre-backs to be dealing with that. Just a little nudge for Holland, but because he's on the turn, can't really get it under control. You know, if he had, it comes off his thigh, if he had just got that down, then it was a problem for the away side.
Given away to Jackson, who gave it back to McManus. Toulson. Holland's thick touch landed kindly for Baker, who ran away from Avina. Here's a little pocket battleship, Tom Baker, only 5'6" tall, but much loved by supporters here at the Shea.
It's good defending.
Against Jackson. Lifted high by Liam Hogan. Another no-nonsense centre-half, whose kid brother actually is on the bench for Halifax today. Little brother Scott. Both of them were at one stage on the books of Rochdale.
I think last season we were at Southport at this stage when we visited Sheffield Wednesday, and I think that day they had the likes of Clinton Morrison, the experience, and Neil Mellor playing up front, and they just had a little too much.
Avina.
And you just kind of wonder whether, you know, if they get the service, whether Hayes and Ewell can do likewise for Charlton today, but not with service like that. A bit wild from Avina.
Powell, who came into the Charlton job midway through last season, and actually didn't get off to a flyer by any means at all. He was allowed time by supporters who simply adore him from his days as a player. They cut him some slack, and how well judged that slack has proved to be, because he has them on a terrific run now. 4 wins in a row coming into this game. 5 points clear at the top of League One. Charlton finished last season 13th in League One. 5 years after they had finished 13th in the Premier League. It's on towards Gregory, against whom the flag was raised.
Well, it's good work, isn't it, from Holland in competing with Taylor. Just up nice and early, the little flick on, and the assistant's got it spot on. Gregory had just strayed.
That really meant something from Ghana. It's a pass which was errant.
I actually like this lad's attitude, Simon Garner. I think he's got brilliant work rate, really industrious in the centre of midfield, and he loves a tackle. Good left foot in him too, he can ping one.
His dad's a manager, so he's probably had him biting away in his ear for years about attitude. His father Carl is at Clitheroe Town. Morrison. Taylor. Those two centre-halves for Charlton. Perhaps suitably the only two in the starting 11 who've played at the Shea before, have their roots in non-league, really hungry young professionals who will understand as much as anyone what a day like today is all about.
Well, this is the part I think Charlton are finding difficult so far, Peter, is the penetration. You know, they've got ball in front of Halifax, but Halifax are lovely and compact with that 5 across midfield now, and it's difficult for Charlton to find a way through.
Oh, it's a lovely little touch on towards Ewell. Extremely well read, though, by Scott McManus. Jamie Rainford playing it safe. Watched out by Hardy, whose job is to sit in front of the Halifax back four for added protection. Jackson in the battle with Toulson.
Yeah, he had a little slip, Jackson, as he tried to turn. You'll see plenty of that today. It's that kind of surface. But again, you know, Charlton forced to go backwards, unable to find a way through. And I think it's good shape, good organisation so far about Neil Aspin's men.
Holland chasing, as he willingly will, from dawn till dusk. By Hogan on what is turning into a murky lunchtime at the foot of the Pennines. The mist is drifting in. Visibility not great, but not so bad in any sense as to threaten the game. Jackson was Charlton's last scorer in the FA Cup in a replay against Luton last year. Toulson. Held out by Lowe. Taken up by Rainford. McManus, Lowe. Neil Aspin did promise they would try to play. In their own defensive third, perhaps rather perilously overplaying. Lowe can start again with Simon Eastwood, who has, the Halifax goalkeeper, got through the first 20 minutes plus without having to make a save. It's on towards Gregory by Holland. Taken up now by Baker, who can worry Avina here. Baker got to the byline, and Hughes protected.
Yeah, just needed a little more elevation in it. But again, you know, Danny Holland up front, big and strong, and up there nice and early ahead of his marker.
McManus. Gregory showed, and Gregory turned, and Gregory fired over.
And he knows how to finish. I think he does ever so well to manage to get the turn and find the space. It's just misread, isn't it, by Taylor? Tries to intercept it, tries to anticipate it, just gets ahead of it, out of position. Now, once it's out of his feet, it's just a pity he can't get round it a little bit more and test John Sullivan.
Wins the throw. Jamie Rainford, who only joined FC Halifax last Friday on loan from Chester, in time to play a part in the league game at Gloucester. He is free to play because Chester, as a result of various misdemeanours in recent times, haven't been allowed into the FA Cup this year, so there was no danger of cup tying.
He scored a load of goals at Marine last season, Peter.
Yes, he did.
Rainford. So they've got goals in him. Yeah, they've got goals in him up front, Halifax.
Yeah, Holland got 21 last year. Gregory 10 this year. Rainford. Let's get down to the touchline and net.
Neil, steady so far, very good start.
Yeah, I'm pleased with the start. Obviously, it's important to stay in the game for as long as possible. And as long as we didn't concede early on, because that would have been a disaster. But so far, keeping our shape well and well in the game. But it's just whether if we can last for a full 90 minutes at this sort of tempo.
It's concentration and composure, that's the key, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. Concentration, definitely, because their movement's very good. And if we switch off, obviously it'll cost us.
Good start, well on Liverpool.
Stay in the game. That's what Northwich did 2 years ago, more than that actually, on that occasion, and stole a second-half goal. It's what Halifax did in 1980 against Manchester City on the mud bath here at the Shea. And Neil Aspin's 21st century team are very much in this fixture here. Indeed, they have probably given marginally more concern to Sullivan, and Charlton have to Eastwood in the other goal. But here is Jackson. And Ewell. Evina. Really well out for Halifax by McManus. Nicked on by Holland. Rainford. Kept it in, but at full stretch.
They're not shirking, are they? You know, we've seen a couple from Garner, and again Hardy there, fully committed. He's just happy to get out of the way of that, isn't he, Wagstaff?
That's what Aaron Hardy's there for. All awkward for Hogan, who became aware of Ewell relatively late in the day, and was happy to steal it behind.
Yeah, I think he could have gone and dealt with it, and just in letting it bounce like that, just took a risk, but managed to recover it.
With the Charlton captain, Johnny Jackson, with the corner. Forward for which have come Morrison and Taylor from centre-half. Jackson's outswinger, free header, fine save. Simon Eastwood flung himself to make the biggest possible barrier and deny Matt Taylor.
Oh, it's just too easy. Matt Taylor gets free way too easily. Look at that. There's nobody in contention, and I felt he should have maybe scored. There's a few on the line, but keepers, I think, fortunate that it's come at him, but still a very good save from Simon Eastwood. For me, could have done better, Taylor. Glorious chance.
Forward by Gregory. After it is Rainford, out of harm's way. At the other end now by Taylor, who's never scored for Charlton, possibly never had a better chance than that. Was briefly on the books at this club at Halifax, on his way through the non-league ranks, never played. Won a game on this ground with Exeter in the conference some years back. Toulson hurling it long. Landed on the feet of McManus. Safe to say, didn't strike that terribly purely. You can see the funny side.
Listen, we've all done that. I mean, he was trying to line up the big one, but did very well, didn't he, Simon Eastwood, to make the save. But I think just delighted to see it come at him, because Matt Taylor had more room to aim for.
McManus with the throw. Hardy. Toulson. Nicely on by Gregory. In by Toulson. Away by Morrison. Nicely constructed again though by Halifax.
Yeah, again, just need a little height on the cross from Toulson. Seen that on this side on a couple of occasions, but you know, he's in position again, maybe to throw a long one, fling a long one in.
Toulson once more. Won by Holland. It's come to McManus. And now Rainford. Solid defending. Hardy has it back. Rainford. Low. Clear by Hughes. Reclaimed by Ewell. Early by Solly. Allowed to bounce again by Hogan, who was calm.
He was very cool, wasn't he, with Danny Hollands. Did his best to make up ground, and I suppose if you're knocking it back to the goalkeeper in situations like that with a man bearing down on you, you've got to be spot on with it on this surface.
Jackson. Ewell. McManus. Garner. Solly. Hayes. Wagstaff is offside.
I think probably at this stage now, Chris Powell is going to be looking for a little bit more invention. I think he probably has just drifted enough. It's very tight, but probably just off Wagstaff.
Actually, despite being only 21, Scott Wagstaff has only Jason Newell in this starting 11 ahead of him in terms of Charlton appearances. These clubs did have 3 seasons together in league football in the old 3rd division in the first half of the 1970s. And Charlton have never won at the Shea. Lots of live football on ITV just at the moment, and we've more for you by way of contrast on Tuesday evening, live from Wembley at 7:30, ITV1 and ITV1 HD. Another England friendly. They've beaten the world champions. Can they beat Sweden? We'll find out on this channel. Also that all of this weekend's FA Cup first round goals are available online at itv.com/FA Cup, and that the draw for the second round of the FA Cup with Budweiser is live here immediately after this game, round about 20-3. Winners of this tie will be ball number 25 in a 40-club draw. Solly, Wagstaff, behind Newell, Hayes! Good block by Ryan Toulson.
Yeah, had to as well, because that's bang on target. I mean, it's the first time they've got in behind like that. Lovely little ball back from Wagstaff, and he hits it ever so well, doesn't he, Hayes?
Jackson's outswinger,
push,
and the referee won't allow the goal.
Morrison.
From Morrison.
Yeah. There's a clear push. The referee was on it straight away. I mean, Morrison was a bit angry at the decision, but just watch it here. Yeah, just a little push in the back of Liam Hogan.
But the alarm, Jim, for Halifax, regardless of the offence, which was pretty visible, is that 2 left-sided corners from Jackson have been met by the centre-halves.
Yeah, and that was an important touch from Toulson. You know, I don't think he knew much about it, but, you know, luckily he got in the way and it hit him on the leg. But yeah, I think it's looking like that type of game, Peter, isn't it? In open play, I think both defences look pretty comfortable, but certainly Charlton on the set plays look rather dangerous. Those 2 big centre-backs coming up, going to cause problems.
McManus, Rainford with the free kick. Goalkeeper has come and lost it. And got away with it, Sullivan, who exhibits fury with those in front of him, but maybe slightly self-questioning as well.
How about the ball in from Tom Baker, though? I mean, the goalkeeper is very fortunate to get away with that. If you come, you've got to get hold or punch it. And he did neither there. Seemed to catch him on the thigh in the end, John Sullivan.
His 3rd appearance of this season. Former Brighton trainee. This time last year he was on loan at Yeovil. Spends most of the time warming the bench whilst Ben Hamer starts in the first team.
And again, the chance to get one of the big centre-backs up at least. Taylor's gone, Morrison's decided to stay. And I think you know what's coming. Johnny Jackson's going to try and flight one in. He's got Avina.
Avina Toulson across to meet him. Fullback's done well again.
Now, important for Halifax to make sure they've got the big men and that the runs are checked and they're not allowed to get anything free on it.
Well, there are Morrison and Taylor once more. And there's Jackson's ball in, for which Morrison competed at the near post.
Yeah, but at least Hogan did enough. That's what I'm saying. You've got to work harder at staying with them. Just follow them all the way. Don't give them a free header. Don't make it easy. And he was just under too much pressure in the end. Morrison, as he broke front post, but it's good defending. Hogan stayed with.
There's the brand new main stand here at the Shea, which is unrecognisable from the arena. You've seen even a decade less ago, £3.5 million, terrific conference and banqueting facilities. The new board here with David Bosamworth in charge have done a really wonderful job at reigniting this community club. Rainford, he's got himself a corner.
I think he'd be happy to take that because he wanted to try and get it back on that favoured right foot. He couldn't quite manage it.
Baker to take. Hogan is right in the mix. And, so too is Manus. The goalkeeper Sullivan got a fist on it and was protected anyway.
Yeah, well, Hogan was the one who made the run from the edge of the box in. He was trying to get behind him, far post. Yeah, I think kind decision. I'm not sure he does an awful lot wrong as he uses his arm just a little bit, but keeper didn't look entirely certain of what he was doing then.
Might be a memory that Halifax bank. Last visited this ground on the opening day of the 1974-75 season. A season at the end of which they would be promoted to the second division. Big national football story that day was Carlisle's win at Chelsea on their first day in the top division. Manchester United won a second division game at Leyton Orient, or Orient as they were then. That's how long ago it was. Last Charlton player to score at the Shea, Derek Hales. If you don't know who he was, ask your dad. Hales and Flanagan. Remember them coming to blows once? I've played cricket against Derek Hales, Jim. I wouldn't want to play football against him. Here's Avina. And Hayes!
Comes at him quickly, and I don't think he could get his feet sorted out, but that's a lovely run from Cedric Avina. You know, very direct, very positive. I mean, you know, you wouldn't have thought he's got anywhere to go, and yet look at this, a beautiful little pullback as well. I'm not sure he was expecting it, you know, Paul Hayes. But in the event, he just didn't sort his feet out in time and couldn't direct it where he wanted.
Garner. Manus. Garner. Baker. Hughes. Hollands.
It's a foul by Hardy. Aaron Hardy is very much playing the anchor, usually played by Tom Baker today, but he's made way for Hardy, and he's kind of an ever-present. He's just holding that position, and it's the right leg caught Danny Hollands then.
Jackson. Hayes. Wagstaff back stick, and the header is in from Taylor. 40 minutes of Halifax resistance has been broken down, and the long journey north is made worthwhile. The big centre-half, Matt Taylor.
Well, we've not seen great quality in Charlton going forward. They've been a little tentative, if anything, but it just opened up into that pocket of space, and it's a good ball far post from Paul Hayes. He's hung it up there, and he said, well, go on, get your head on that. And Matt Taylor, who's been coming up for a lot of the set plays, has placed that beautifully away from Simon Eastwood. There's no way he's going to get across that. That's a smashing header.
First goal in Charlton colours for Matt Taylor, who arrived from Exeter in the summer after years battling through the non-league ranks. Taylor was an FA Trophy winner with Burscough back in 2003. He was a goalkeeper early in his career. Goal scorer now. Baker! Oh!
That's crossbar. That's an absolute perler, isn't it? From such a distance as well. I mean, they've just afforded him the chance. We'll go on, have a pop then. And you know what? The keeper is lost on that one as well, John Sullivan. It dips at the very end, but not enough. Just clips the crossbar. And I think John Sullivan will be breathing a little easier after that. Great effort.
He is the battery in the Halifax watch. Wagstaff. Came out for Baker. Held up by Holland. Hit early by Baker towards Gregory, who jumped with Morrison. Solly. Wagstaff. Tackle Garner, not for the first time. Jackson. Baker. Kick Halifax. Not the first time they've been behind on this cup run. They scored two very late goals against Tadcaster Albion in the second qualifying round. Here in front of a crowd of 1,002. Something like 5 times as many in here today, urging them to do something similar. Gregory. Pondered a quick one and then decided to wind up long instead. 90 seconds plus stoppage time before the break. Baker. Switched out by Hayes. Hardy. Baker.
Been very little between the teams overall, Peter. It's just that Charlton just have just a little more about them when they're in the opposition box than vice versa. and they've used that well, both on the set pieces and, of course, you know, Matt Taylor's goal before. And I mean, you know, I'm not been too critical of him on the earlier header, but, you know, the one that the goalkeeper saved, he probably had a little more room to aim for and pick something out, but on his goal itself, it was beautifully placed.
Savina. Hayes.
You know, and when he did get himself in the box for Paul Hayes' cross, just look at the placement on this. I mean, the climb is beautiful, just keeps his man down below him, and he directs it fantastically well, and Chris Powell happy to celebrate with his players.
Still 1 minute to add on, as indicated by Scott Matheson, the fourth official. Ewell by Hardy. Early towards Gregory from Holland. Down from Taylor. Well, it's a good cup tie, and in the main stand at the Shea they raise themselves to acknowledge that, albeit that it is Charlton who have the lead. Very well-directed header from Matt Taylor 5 minutes before half-time, which shouldn't obscure a terrific effort from the Blue Square North team, who have since struck the crossbar and who have played with sufficient purpose to suggest that this game is far from done. Half-time at the Shea in the FA Cup with Budweiser. It is FC Halifax Town 0, Charlton Athletic 1.
All going well enough for Halifax, but then 40 minutes in, Hayes finds Taylor, who loops it in very nicely. So it's 1-0 to Charlton at the Shea. Is there a way back for Halifax? What do you think?
There is. I think they've shown enough ability and endeavour in the first half, attacking the main body of their fans in the second half. So far from over, but they've got to make sure defensively, particularly set plays and balls into the air, you know, aerial balls into the box, they've got to deal with better.
But Matt Taylor, who scored the goal, he's got form as a goalkeeper, hasn't he? I think he won the FA trophy as a goalkeeper.
Incredible.
And he knows where to put the ball, judging by the way he placed the header.
No, definitely. Whereas Johnny Jackson delivered some good balls in, didn't he, Andy, throughout the half?
He has done. He just started to become a little bit more significant as the half went on, and that ball in from Hayes is a loopy cross, but it's a great leap from Matt Taylor, up very early. The goalkeeper, Simon Eastwood, can never get that. It's just perfectly placed, but just started, Gareth, didn't they? Just started after about half an hour or 25 minutes, half an hour, just started to look like they were starting to worry that Halifax defence.
Yeah.
And they posted warnings, hadn't they, that there were holes in Halifax defence.
Yeah, again, from these set plays and from the wider areas, Johnny Jackson hitting some decent balls in. It's too easy, that. It's too easy. Matt Taylor's not having to work that hard, I don't think, to actually find that much space and work the goalkeeper. He possibly should have done better. This one, again, I think from Morrison this time is a push in the back.
Well, it's a clear push this time, but same ball in, isn't it? You know, three on the bounce that Charlton. They had another one as well. They're first to those balls in the box. You've got to be, if you're defending, you've got to get the first touch on that ball.
What disappoints Halifax there, Neil Aspin will be saying, look, if they knock through us with some great football and something very clever and elaborate, fine, but don't let's get beat by just a whipped ball into the 6-yard box and let someone have a free header.
But Chris Powell will have some worries about the way Halifax have come off them and they've backed off to a certain extent, John.
Like this, Gareth, that movement there is top draw, that is. Danny Holland and Lee Gregory combining. Now the wide man coming in off the flank. Watch this, that's great movement, great run. 3 white shirts completely out of the game, and now he's running at the heart of that back four. What they don't have, Gareth, is maybe that little bit of pace to absolutely threaten that Charlton back line, but they've had good variation in their game, haven't they?
Well, they have. They go slightly longer this time, but again, you know, they're not predictable. They've mixed the game up. This time they try and go straight in over the top, and it's a little bit unfortunate there. Holland with the ball in. And this one again, Gregory into feet, just tries to curl it round, just not the quality on the finish.
Know what he's trying to do, don't we? Here,
yeah,
now he's trying to trying to curl that round the defender into that far post. And then this one from Tom Baker right at the end, Gareth, good strike.
Yeah, lovely shot.
That's a great strike, that is. We've seen some brilliant shooting in the goals package before this game started, and that was as good as anything else. If it had just dipped down a fraction more, that'd have had the goalkeeper in all sorts of trouble.
It should be a second half worth watching. There's no point holding back. Just throw forward and try and get that.
Yeah, keep going. They've shown that they can create some opportunities. What they mustn't do is gift Charlton anything, because that hurts.
As the head of the FA's head of elite development, Gareth, what do you make of this little six-a-side that's going on outside here?
Right, it's a great for kids that get the chance to play on a stage like this locally. It's fantastic, isn't it? Lovely to see.
Yeah. Very poor handling by the keeperess there, I must say.
Oh, that's a good finish.
And I apologise to her and her family for sure. Okay, we'll be back after the break. It is Halifax 0, Charlton 1. Lots of football to come though. Just a moment. Welcome back to the Shay. Second half is soon upon us. We can speak to one of the Halifax directors. Is with Ned.
Yeah, I'm joined by the Halifax Town director and former Preston forward Bobby Ham. You've been watching on a mixture of pride and frustration.
A little bit of frustration, but to be fair, the boys have played very, very well in this first half. They've controlled a lot of the game. In actual fact, they haven't been a bigger threat up front, but you know, Charlton are a very, very good football inside. They've got the height, something we lack a little bit really, but I'm very pleased with the first half performance.
You know the game, Bobby, you've played the game. What do they need to do to turn this around then?
Well, they need a little bit of luck first and foremost, don't they? And who knows what might happen. They just need somebody to have that little bit of spark. I mean, Tom Baker had a fantastic, 35-yard shot. If that had just dipped in, that's a sort of little bit of luck they need, and the confidence would really grow.
Well, I know you've got a lavish spread up in the director's box. I'll let you get back to that. Thanks, Bobby.
Thank you. Bye.
Well, the pom-poms are moving, which can only mean the teams will soon be out for the second half. Let's go back to our commentary team. Jim Beglin alongside Peter Drew.
Thank you, Adrian. Got all the trappings. Charlton have their lead. It's not as extensive a lead as they enjoyed via their youth team on Monday night. In a similar sort of fixture, Charlton's under-18s had a 9-0 away win at Soham. And I guess the more ambitious Charlton folk and the more pessimistic Haligonians, for that is what a resident of Halifax is called, might have feared something similar. That hasn't been the case at all. Jim, no question in the gloom and the murk here, it is a proper contest.
It is indeed. I was impressed with Halifax. I was impressed with their game plan in the first half. As Neil Aspin said, stay in the game. I think that still applies even though they're a goal behind. I don't think they'll change that drastically. I think it's still a case of making sure you make things difficult for the visitors. Hang in there, and you just might get a little bit of a spark or just a little bit of creation from one of your front players, and can get you right back into it. So I don't think they'll be throwing caution just yet.
Famous cup occasions here down the years. We've spoken a lot about the game in January 1980 when Paul Hendry scored against Joe Corrigan and Halifax beat a stellar Manchester City team here. There was another one in July 71, very famous Whatney Cup tie. Who remembers the Whatney Cup when Halifax beat Manchester United, including Best, Law and Charlton 2-1. Willie Morgan had a penalty save, George Best scored one. There were nearly 20,000 in the ground that day. Well, there are around about 5,000 in here today, very, very reasonably priced. You can't spend more than 13 quid on a match ticket for this, their biggest game in years, and the biggest game in the history of the Reborn Club. The community has united around this fixture, and talking to one or two people around us over the course of the half-time break, there was a certain relief, a happiness that whatever happens now, as Charlton warm themselves up for the start of the second half. Whatever happens now, Jim, Halifax have put on a decent show. And for the pride of a town and a club, that probably mattered most today.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, I think Neil Aspin needed him in at half-time. You know, after conceding the goal, it's just demoralising a little bit. And I'm sure he's remotivated his troops now. And I think the one thing he has to instill for this second half now is the belief in his players that they can still get something out of this. That don't let it kind of get away from you now. Still give it all you've got and don't leave anything out there.
The Skircoat stand that you see there, semi-populated, is kept for the away supporters. I assure you that the main stand in which we're sitting is absolutely chock-a-block. The attendance is healthy, and it includes their Vice President Jeff Cope, former Yorkshire and England spin bowler, and his guide dog Kemp. Jeff was made a Vice President at the start of this season and is an avid fan of this club, has been for some time. Rarely misses a home game, nor indeed does Kemp. He took 8 wickets for England in 3 Test matches on the 77-78 tour of Pakistan, and would have taken a debut hat-trick, but Mike Brearley, diving at first slip, thought he grounded the 3rd catch and called the batsman back. Anyhow, that's history. Up to date, Halifax have a cup tie to chase. And here's Rainford and Garner. McManus. Away from Solly. Very decent delivery. Could come down for Gregory. Hooked away as far as Rainford! Sullivan threw down a hand.
Well, just what the doctor ordered, exactly what Neil Aspin would have wanted from his players. Just revitalise them and go out and have a go at the start of the second half, as they did at the start of the first, and great effort on goal.
McManus, Holland, and it broke for Jackson. Out of the blocks, Halifax. They might as well have a go now. Newell is worrying them. Hogan has timed his tackle well. Jackson, and Newell couldn't keep it from going behind.
Well, he was involved early on as well, Jamie Rainford, in helping to get Scott McManus away. He's hung a lovely ball up far post, and this is good control, isn't it? On the thigh, and that's net bound. I think the goalkeeper's done wonderfully well. First to see it, and then to actually move his feet, get across, and get a good strong right hand on it. Great stop. Almost.
He'll never strike a ball more sweetly. As you were saying in the first half, Jim, at this level he is a prolific goal scorer, 28 for Marine last season.
Don't care what level, you know, if you're a goal scorer and you have that knack, then it's in you. You can do it on any stage. And he's banged quite a few in his time.
He's a gas man. Comes around and fixes your fire, makes sure the stove is safe. And then on a Saturday, he scores goals. Good save by Sullivan, who occasionally looked a little wary and unsure in aerial situations in the first half. Got down really well to a ball that kicked up just in front of him.
For any goalkeeper, once the ball hits a greasy surface in front, it can gather speed, and he has been sharp in getting across to that Sullivan.
Vina. The goal scorer. So Michael Morrison, who made his debut in senior football on this ground for Halifax, for Cambridge. At Halifax as a 17-year-old here in 2005. Holland. Garner couldn't take it. Moved on by Hollands. Forward by Jackson, and Ewell's onside, but the ball skipped away.
Well, he's just taken his eye off it. I think he was just onside, you know. I mean, the flag stayed down. I think he timed it well enough, and it's a lovely little ball to release him. And if that first touch is right, Peter, he's in. He can just pick his spot.
Baker.
And just for a moment, that kind of shape that's been good about Halifax, they just got cut a bit lopsided. And very tight, but he's given the benefit, and I think it's probably a good call. And if that right-footed touch is anyway decent, then he's in on the goalkeeper.
It's a Premier League experience with Wimbledon way back, and Charlton, Middlesbrough, and last year Blackpool. This time last year he was a part of that famous, infamous Ian Holloway selection at Aston Villa, the famous weakened side for which Blackpool got fined after very nearly pulling off a notable result. Jason Wall was in that team. Solly. Protection from Hardy. He's penalised. Or was it McManus at the back of yours? Yes, it was, right?
Yeah, it was, yeah. Hardy wasn't even aware. McManus just barged him.
Hughes is going to leave the free kick to the fullback, Solly.
That's no surprise, is it? Aim for Matt Taylor. The man who's done a lot of damage.
This time it came out for Baker. He was denied access to the Charlton half by Hollands.
Yeah, well, I mean, Holland seemed to know what he was doing then, and he'd just taken Baker out, just getting across him. And I think the crowd are a little upset that he's escaped the yellow card, because it seemed pretty blatant as to what he was up to then.
Sergio Ramos did something like that to one of the England players on halfway at Wembley last night. Header comes out to Gregory. Some bays from behind the goal, suggesting a bit of push which was worthy of a penalty. That wasn't given, handball on halfway was.
It just looked like he was climbing on his man, didn't it, Taylor?
Hayes. Tackle from Garner. Referee let that go, but Hollands won it back, and here's Jackson. Ravina has scooted on beyond him.
I mean, I mentioned in the first half, Peter, there's another lovely little ball from Jackson. He got, you know, the through ball for Ewell before that they didn't capitalise on. He looks the kind of player, to me, who's wasted a bit out there. Lovely left peg. He can play centre in midfield.
Wagstaff. Oh, that is a good delivery. Jackson. Solly. Wagstaff. Solly. Away from Rainford. And Hayes tried something extravagant. His last FA Cup goal was for Scunthorpe against Manchester City in an FA Cup tie we televised a couple of seasons back. Now here's the penalty show.
Yeah, is there a little climb here? Yeah, certainly uses the arms. I'll tell you what. I mean, to the official, it looks as if he just uses his arms to climb on him. And, you know, on another day, the referee might just give that.
Actually, Danny Holland is still telling the referee that. Gregory jumping. Solly. Deft little ball for Wagstaff. Solly again, whose position as first choice Charlton right back was freed once Carl Jenkinson went to Arsenal. Taylor.
Very deep again, Yule.
Hughes with the skewed pass. Couldn't make anything of it. Avina. Jackson. Avina. Jackson. Avina. It's a really good move. Well gathered in by Simon Eastwood.
And they've worked well, those two. I think Jackson looks very cultured, and Avina's just become more and more confident as the game goes on and getting forward, and that was a decent attempt as well in getting that across.
The fullback, the Cameroonian, was Oldham's Player of the Year last season. Having learnt with Arsenal's youngsters. Here's Solly. Wagstaff. Solly. A solid challenge from Jamie Rainford.
I just think that they look the stronger side now, don't they? The League One opposition at the moment. They've just stepped up a gear for me. And both fullbacks are now looking to get forward, and much more progressive second half. Charlton.
Well, that's been said it in the first half. Staying in the game. Here's where the danger has come from, principally for Charlton. Another Jackson corner. Flag is up, so nothing that occurs now is anything more than academic. Taylor in the thick of it again.
Yeah, and Taylor is kind of not agreeing with the referee's decision. I mean, there's all sorts of jostling and pushing as usual, and difficult to see what he gave that for. Well, it was a bit strong, wasn't it? I think he was surprised, Avina, how quickly that came at him from John Sullivan.
So a bonus Halifax throw, forward for which comes Tolson. And Holland flicks on towards Baker. Only Hayes is forward for Charlton. McManus kept it from him, did really well. Scott McManus. Header away by Avina. And here's Jackson. Forward by Taylor. Here's Hardy. Holland. Baker. Again by Taylor. More challenging with Lowe. Was late arriving there. Referee has noticed it and waved it on. He might have to return to it. Hughes on the receiving end. Garner, the fireman, whose job to a large extent has been putting out fires here. A little too flammable in the challenge on that occasion.
He almost had the axe out there, didn't he? He's going to get booked, yeah. This is for intent. I don't think there was a lot of contact, if any, on Andy Hughes, but I think the referee's saying, look, just calm down a little bit, because he's a serial tackler. He can't resist it. As I say, great work rate, great attitude, but at times he could be just a little more careful when it comes to the likes of this. Once it breaks, and there he is. And I think if there is any heavy contact from a challenge like that, you could do a lot of damage, but thankfully not on Andy Hughes.
his throw. Jackson. Pina.
There's a bit of movement now, isn't there, on the Halifax bench. I wondered at what stage Neil Aspin might change it, you know, as to whether he might go with a 2 up front and go with a 4 across midfield, just try and give a little more trouble to the Charlton defence. But
I have to tell you, Jim, this fella Jason St Just came on at Gloucester last week. I was down there at Charlton, where Gloucester play at the moment, and he made a difference. Hayes, Wagstaff, aimed up at Jackson, out by Tolson. Jackson. Oh, it's a lovely turn from Danny Hollands. Hollands cross, scraped out by Hogan. Rainford. Through a challenge from Solly. Not a throw, before which Halifax will make this change. And it is to be Jason St Just. Well, still waiting.
Well, they want to keep the height in there in case this comes in from Baker.
Baker. Gregory was round the back, but Sullivan was unchallenged. Maybe the last chance that Danny Holland gets. He does struggle to get through 90 minutes. I mentioned at the start of the game, if you're joining us late, that he has one knee without any cartilage and barely trains, laughs a lot. He's the class clown. They love having him around the club. He's much appreciated by the supporters. That feeling is mutual. But his big day in the limelight is over. And this guy is a live wire. There'll be a different dimension about Halifax now if he can get on the ball.
Yeah, and I think that the system is going to stay the same. The 4-3-3 at the moment. Looks as if Rainford's going to go to the right side. Gregory's going to operate in the middle, and St Just is going to play from the left, as he did, as you mentioned, Peter, away to Gloucester a week ago, when he did have a big impact.
Gregory cut off at the pass by Taylor. Just needs a chance. Feeds on chances, Lee Gregory. Tolson with the Rory Delap Memorial towel.
Well, that helps.
In towards Gregory, out by Morrison. Clear from Jackson, well won by Hogan, moved on by Baker, Hardy, Halifax throw. Has been broadly content, but as a competitor, that's what he always was, competitive type, aware that he is in this contest. It only takes a second. Hardy. Low. Gregory. Hardy. Tolson. Hardy. Gregory's gone over, but has appealed for nothing.
Yeah, there was a little shout from the crowd, as you'd expect, but I think it was a slip from Gregory. I mean, all the work, Peter, the two close moments they've had, Baker, I mean, can't hit it any better than that, so unlucky. And this was lovely, wasn't it, from Rainford, and sorting his feet out and drew a very good save from Sullivan. And there's still hope for Halifax with more of it. As I say, that there's still that compactness about them defensively, making it hard for Charlton. And as long as it's 1-0, then they can keep their spirits up.
Wagstaff. Hayes. Flicked up off Wagstaff, well read by Hogan. Over the top here for St Just. First chance to demonstrate his pace. And to worry Solly. And worry the full-back he does. St Just to the cross! Gregory didn't make contact. Here's Rainford. In went Baker. And it's come out to Hardy! Whistle's gone.
Yeah, Baker was just a little too robust in the challenge, and referee penalised them for that. And just look at the manager in the touchline, urging his troops on. That's a lovely little ball, exactly what he wanted to do as well, St Just. I thought Gregory would get a little more on it. He seemed to be in position front post. And he just, I don't know, he just seemed a bit awkward, and he's missed it.
Is he living this day or is he not? Jackson, cut out by Hardy. Tolson. Still going, Tolson. Hardy. Halifax now increasingly progressive. And Tolson's got a corner. 3 leagues between them. Just 1 goal between them. Quarter of the cup tie to go. Rainford on the goalkeeper's toes. Gregory at the near post. Low forward from centre half. McManus forward to attack it as well. Garner's take. Oh, Gregory took it off the toe of a colleague. Back in by Hardy. And too much for St Just.
Yeah, but just before the corner was taken, I mean, the whole ground is revitalised now in the belief that, that this is better from the home side. And they can still do something, but I thought that attack where Gregory nearly got his head to the ball from Hogan at centre-back out to release St Just was absolutely beautiful. And that's what they need more of, Halifax. They've got a speedy, live-wire winger. Get him in.
Gregory. Off his toe by Morrison. Jackson. Vina. Against Hardy, and Halifax are about to throw on Harry Winter before this free kick, which is intercepted by Hogan. Hit early for Gregory to pursue.
I think that was the target, really, St Just, because it was the same diagonal we saw earlier from the centre-back.
Yule. From Garner, who really has given everything to this cup tie.
He can't resist putting a foot in, can he?
He's not alone, by the way. Commitment of this club to this day and these players to this game has been total.
Very, very impressive.
Garner. There was a ball for Baker there, but it had been seen by Taylor. Hughes. Flag hasn't gone up here against Hollands. Hardy got across to block him.
Yeah, and bear in mind as well, he's the kind of midfield anchor, Hardy, and look at the tracking. You know, you think Hollands got enough room to get away, and yet he manages to close the space and get a left foot on it. Hardy, well done.
Jackson's corner. Taylor up dangerously again. Stolen away by Garner. Hooked back in by Hughes. Low. McManus. Hoisted out by Danny Lowe. Another strong interception, it's done him damage and he's stayed down. Garner's not waiting though, and here is St Just! Oh, it's a brilliant recovery from Solly, who even broke the challenge of Baker. Wonderful from the fullback.
It is fantastic defending, it really is, but I just wonder whether St Just could have just stepped across the fullback's path just to kind of hold him off and keep him at bay. But what about the ball from Garner as well? But he's given Halifax an outlet, hasn't he? He's given him a bit of pace, he's given him something to aim for, something to get him behind the Charlton defence with.
Still a reason for Halifax to believe here. It's a live cup tie. Jackson. Wagstaff. Just tackling.
Yeah, McManus is the one, the left back. He competes here. I just wonder whether it's, I don't know whether it's the fall or whether it was just got a little feel of an arm. But what about the ball from Garner? There's the run from St Just. Now, can he just step across his man there? I think he probably could have, you know, and maybe would have got on the end of it, but I have to give credit where it's due, and Solly did recover it ever so well.
McManus appears to be recovered. He was a youngster at Manchester United, and when he didn't make it there, moved via Curzon Ashton to Crewe and to Stenhousemuir. And here he is, ended up at the foot of the Pennines. It'll restart effectively with a goal kick. Halifax still waiting on their change. Here it is. And Simon Garner, who, for my money, has been one of the players of the game. He's rested for the last 15-20 minutes. He has done so well.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, you know, even watching him last week away to Gloucester, there's just something about him that I think he inspires everybody else with his attitude and his application. I think he's been fantastic today. He's given everything, wholehearted.
And here's Gregory. He's played it into St Just, and again Solly is the key defender.
Well, he's a lot busier now, that's for sure, anyway, since St Just came on. Again, it's that little one inside, just trying to trick the fullback, but he's alive to it. Strong so far. Solly.
It's going to be Baker's corner. McManus waiting to race in from the edge of the penalty area. Rainford right by the goalkeeper. Gregory in there too. He's too close to Sullivan.
That's ambitious. Trying to release Wagstaff. Sullivan, and the apologetic hand has gone up. Sorry, there's another couple.
By Morrison. He's penalised for backing into Hardy. Charles number 9, a little puzzled by that. Not so much backing in as
arms and knee.
Yeah. This is Danny Lowe. And at Rainford. Sliced by Avina, who's given himself a snack here. Hardy. Toulson. Good ball. And behind by Solly from in front of St Just.
Yeah, I think one or two of the Charlton players were hoping that it was already out before Solly got his head on it, but again, he just kept an eye on his man on a couple of occasions, and yeah, he has conceded the corner.
St Just changing this game. Baker. Gonna let it bounce behind. Back down to the touchline, and Ned Bolting. Ned.
Yeah, Peter, I've got Simon Garner, who's just been withdrawn from the action. Simon, terrific game. Congratulations so far. It's heating up, isn't it?
Yeah, thank you. Obviously, gutted that it's still 1-0 to them. We're doing well. We're creating chances. Hopefully, we'll get that goal and maybe even push on for another one if we can get one.
Belief is there, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, we're full of confidence at the moment. We're playing really well. Obviously, I'm a bit gutted to come off, but I've had a yellow. Maybe that's something to do with it. Lads are doing superb, and if we keep going, there's no reason why we can't get that equaliser.
The introduction of St Just has made a hell of a difference, hasn't it?
It's brilliant because he's got that pace. Obviously, you turn the defenders, they're scared of pace. No one likes to turn, so you can get it in behind. He's frightening, his pace is electrifying.
Well done, Simon. Thanks very much.
Cheers.
And here is St Just, and he is electrifying and frightening. He's fit it here for Rainford, away by Avina.
But again, he's making things happen, you know, and he's getting Charlton on the back foot, and he's committing defenders.
By the way, what an attitude from a footballer on the biggest day of his life to being substituted. There are one or two superstars who might care to listen back to that interview. Fantastic from Garner after a performance like that.
And I just wonder, Peter, you know, I mean, as good as he is in the tackle and as much as he loves a tackle, whether Neil Aspin was worried that he might just mistime another and end up with a second yellow.
Which is how he's read it, Garner, isn't it? Evidently, from what he said.
Of course.
Low. Rainford, nice take. Low. Gregory. Winter. Harry Winter, the substitute, with his first glimpse. He came on for the last few minutes when Northwich beat Charlton 2 years ago. Ghost of FA Cup's past for Charlton is on to worry them here potentially. The job is not yet done for Chris Powell. 80-odd places above Halifax in the pecking order, but still only within a goal of them here. Solly. Baker was caught by Hayes.
Well, they can't get out now, Charlton, Peter. There was a spell in the second half where I felt maybe Charlton were just getting in command of things, but what a response from Halifax.
St Just. Rainford. Avina in the way. Back in by Toulson. Out by Taylor. Down by Baker. McManus. Goalkeeper has come.
Yeah, I mean, you could see McManus' disappointment as soon as he released it with his left foot. He kind of jabbed it in, really. Didn't get any power behind it. Didn't kind of really swing his leg through it, and keeper's able to just shout and come and collect. Well, just about.
Wagstaff, it's a good ball for Hayes. And Jackson. Johnny Jackson, 2! Which probably kills the tie. Class finish from a player of a different class to those whom Halifax face week by week. Really good strike from Jackson. Very, very harsh on Neil Aspin in Halifax.
Indeed, I agree with that, but what a hit that is from Johnny Jackson. For all the effort, I mean, that is a sickening blow for the home side. But once it comes in, I mean, I think initially Hayes wanted to take it on his right foot and try and get something away. In the end, he just feeds it to Jackson, and just watch the way he switches feet, gets it on his stronger left. Might have gone through legs, which never helps a goalkeeper, but he really did get behind this with power. That's a great finish. Got a little nick, didn't it, off Toulson as it went through.
Solly. Well, it really has pricked the Halifax balloon, which was well inflated for 10-15 minutes prior to that. Certainly since St Justa's come on. And it is hard to believe now. 10 minutes to play. A goal after 40 minutes, a goal after 80 minutes. And those ultimately are going to be the only relevant memories of the day for Charlton. What a crisp hit this was, albeit that it took a nick on the way.
Yeah, and some security reflected in the celebrations on the touchline.
Hayes. Wagstaff. That's deflected wide off the same man, Hogan.
Yeah, and the goalkeeper would be pleased that it went past the post, because he was stranded in trying to anticipate the first one and scrambling to his right side.
Right, Phillips made the trip up here, in Chris Powell's words to me when I spoke to him on Friday, just in case. Oh, goalkeeper was left embarrassed by the touch of Danny Hollands, and Charlton are out of reach now. Ball bounced around uncomfortably. Eastwood had nowhere to go. Hollands popped it between his legs, and the tie is done and dusted.
Yeah, well, it's just a loss of concentration now, and I think that can happen, you know, after the blow of the second goal for Charlton. Once this comes back, it's missed. It should have been cleared. He's onside, Danny Hollands, and once it does fall for him again, he's left-footed and controls it nicely, and the little flick then through the goalkeeper's legs to find the net. And Charlton now, I think, probably that flatters them a little bit, the way things have gone.
Goal scoring form for Danny Hollands. Used to be the Chelsea youth team captain, and has now scored 4 in his last 5 games. He's been in great form actually for a man who probably hasn't slept for 2 months. I'd say he became father to triplets in the middle of September, and he's been scoring regularly for Mia and Annabella and Sophia since then. Handball by Lowe, and the challenge before it wasn't terribly good either, and the card is out, and I'm afraid it's red.
It wasn't a good challenge, Peter, and I think, you know, any doubts the referee may have had, or the assistant for that matter, I think were taken away by the reaction of the Charlton players.
Well, a day that started sweetly, which promised much, and which was sustained for a long period by a dogged, laudable Halifax display, is, I'm afraid, from their point of view, going to end rather lamely, and worse than that, as a result of that late lunge from Danny Lowe, who will be first into the shower.
Yeah, he was sold short by McManus, and he got caught on his heels, and when he went to react, then he's just gone through it into Wagstaff, and
the outburst of uproarious volume from the crowd is because we have a mini invasion, which we won't allow the oxygen of publicity. It's not a pretty sight anyway. Chris Powell is keeping his players well out of the way. Neil Aspin is amongst several who aren't especially impressed. Bradley White-Phillips is going to get 5 minutes at the end of the game. Phil Hayes is being withdrawn. Bradley White-Phillips, of whom the Charlton supporters love to sing "He's better than Sean," is going to replace him. And he has been great this year. 13 goals in 16 games this season, 6 in the last 4. He's never scored in the FA Cup. But these 4 or 5 minutes offer a great window of opportunity against a non-league team missing a centre-half. Wagstaff is on the touchline only because he was on the receiving end of the low lunge and needs to be invited back on.
Yeah, Toulson stepped in alongside Hogan, Peter, and it looks like Hardy's going to see out the game at right back.
Avina. Solly. Right, Phillips. Tossed it across from his new position. Halifax are making a change out of necessity. Game's up. Jamie Rainford is withdrawn and replaced, unsurprisingly, by a centre-half, Greg Anderson. He's contributed plenty to what has been, for the most part, an upbeat occasion for Halifax. Anderson, a relatively recent arrival from Buxton. Jason Ewell is taken off for Charlton. And his replacement is a debutant, 20-year-old Michael Smith, who was an August arrival from Darlington, despite interest from many potentially bigger clubs. He chose Charlton for the opportunities it might present. Danny Hollands is also taken off and replaced by Zimbabwean-born Bradley Pritchard, who gets a couple of minutes on his way back from a substantial injury break. Winter. Just had word, by the way, that the attendance today is 4,601, which is a record in the short life of FC Halifax. They had just more than 4,000 here for a league game against FC United of Manchester on New Year's Day. 4,600 plus today. Jackson, right, Phillips, Jackson. Steered out for Winter, and here's Baker. Here's another player who doesn't really deserve to be on the wrong end of a 0-3 scoreline. No. Flags up. I had a chance to tell you too the identity of our Budweiser man of the match, and it is the scorer of Charlton's first goal, centre-half Matt Taylor. Your Budweiser man of the match.
Yeah, and goals from everywhere. You were talking about Wright Phillips before, Peter, 13 and 16. Did you say 6 in the last 4?
Yeah.
That's frighteningly good. But all through the team they're contributing, aren't they? And I think in their last 4 games before today they'd scored 15. And you know, they've another 3 now.
In by Michael Smith, and driven through the goalkeeper by Bradley Pritchard, so that Charlton have 4. his first goal for the club. And one that merely rubber stamps their progress into the second round. An unfortunate moment for Simon Eastwood, but confirmation, as if it were needed, that Charlton have prevailed here.
Yeah, I mean, he's in space all the way. Look, Bradley Pritchard, and he has time to actually control it. Anderson can't get across and drive it at the near post and hope for the best, and it goes right through the goalkeeper's legs for the second time. Hollands did it, and now Pritchard has followed suit, and it's done and dusted.
Well, the scoreline won't tell the whole story. Halifax were in this until 10 minutes from the end. But that is what professionalism does for you. Fitness and savvy. Charlton stayed strong, stronger for longer. There are going to be 4 minutes added on at the end after all the rumpus of the sending off. The challenge that preceded it. Taken up again by Pritchard. And played into the path here of Smith. He's kept out of harm's way by McManus. Can afford to smile now. In fairness to him, he was smiling right at the very beginning. Actually, in many pictures of Chris Powell, when he hasn't been smiling, he's that sort of bloke.
I'm sure he'll be quick to pay tribute as well to what Halifax have done here today, because, you know, 4-0 makes it look very easy, doesn't it? But it was far from. And I suppose it's ifs and buts for Halifax now, but when you look back, the Rainford shot early in the second half when drew a good save from John Sullivan, and indeed the cross from St. Just when he came on, if it had just got to Gregory's head, and it may have been different.
Don't forget to stay with us after this game. We bring you the draw for the second round of the FA Cup with Budweiser almost at once. Charlton will be ball number 25. Yesterday's Giant Killers Luton, ball number 3. Fleetwood 37, Little Redbridge or Oxford City, ball number 7. Stourbridge or Plymouth, ball 40. And AFC Totton, who scored 8 in the cup yesterday, will be ball number 29. The draw to follow hard on the heels of the game here. A game which is up. And here's Baker, something to remember the day by, perhaps. Tom Baker.
Yeah, he can do it with the left foot too. I mean, you know, he had a pile driver in the first half that just clipped the woodwork, but that time just shifted on his left and still got a decent one away.
Smith. Switch to the cross. Well, David Bosworth's greatest fear was that Halifax would fail as a club to show themselves in a good light. His fear needn't concern him now, because the club have put on an excellent show here today, and the team competed for most of the match. And off the back of this financial boost, they will go into the midweek game here against Solihull Moors, team they beat in the 4th qualifying round to reach this game, with confidence and security for the future. Here's Jackson's corner. Eastwood's fists lifted back in towards Smith, and Smith again. Good save by Eastwood, who smothers it again in company of Tolson from Wright Phillips.
That is a really good save. I mean, Smith was the one who had the first chance once it falls to him here, and he's just kind of miskicked it, and once it fell to Pritchard, he's gone with it with power, and very, very good save from Eastwood.
Goes Taylor. Referee saw another push.
Yeah. Well, he was a threat, wasn't he, in Halifax's box all the way through the game, and did his bit at the start of the match as well when Halifax came out of the blocks lively. But I think when you look back on it, Peter, I think Johnny Jackson's goal did a lot of damage, and once that went in, I think it quickly unravelled.
Well, it's not so romantic in the end, but it's a cup tie that certainly flirted with us. Neil Aspin with reason for pride at the way his team from the Blue Square North competed for all but the last 10 minutes against Chris Powell's League One leaders. The Shea Dream believers must dream another day. This year's cup adventure is over. Charlton do not have to revisit the nightmares of Northwich. Taylor, Jackson, Hollands and right at the end Pritchard. That after Halifax had been reduced to 10, and in the end it looks straightforward. It wasn't entirely that, but Charlton go through, winners at the Shea by 4 goals to 0.
That's well done, Charlton, and well done, Charlton fans. If you're coming to Halifax, you really wouldn't want to be starting your journey in South East London. That's what they did today. Up well before the sun, I would have thought, to get here. Well done, Halifax too, though. 4-0's a bit harsh on them at the end of a contest that was alive for a good 80 minutes for us. Join us after the break. For 80 minutes, Halifax kept us wondering, but Jackson, then Holland, and then Pritchard scored 3 in close succession, and Charlton are safely through to the second round. Well, they did well, Halifax. You know, we should praise Charlton in a minute, but Halifax, you know, kept us thinking, kept us wondering.
Very good. I thought they not only did they compete and work hard, but they played some good football. It was only towards the latter part of the second half they had the pace, with St Just coming on to really start to trouble Charlton, but I thought they gave a really good account of themselves, and the scoreline was very harsh on them in the end.
But when the goals did come, I guess because being part-timers, they're just not that fit.
Yeah.
Kind of lost it in the last 10 minutes. Not as fit as Charlton.
No, exactly right. I mean, it started the first half, this one, the loopy cross that Taylor does really well to just drift that over the goalkeeper. You can see him. I mean, for a centre half, he's just in normal play. He just finds himself in a good position, open play, and really an excellent controlled header into the far corner to give his team the lead. And then this was the key moment in the game, really, because they had their moments at the start of the second half, Halifax. But once Johnny Jackson puts this one in, he gets a slight deflection past the goalkeeper, Simon Eastwood, which is a little bit unlucky. Gets a little bit of room there, the first one into Hayes. A little bit too much because he miscontrols it, but he's still able then to have a look at Jackson, who's got another little pocket of space. Not closed down quick enough. Once he gets it onto his left foot, which is very strong, then he's always going to work the goalkeeper from there, and a little deflection, it just flies past him. But that was the key moment going through.
Definitely, yeah, that sort of knocked the stuffing out of Halifax, and then it's Hollands that finishes it from the corner, and just, if you look at the man on the goal line there, I think it's Hardy for Halifax, just too late coming out, plays Danny Hollands onside, and that was the third. And then the fourth was really rubbing salt in the wounds because, as I say, Halifax 10 minutes before that were well in the game. But
yeah,
big moment for that lad. His first goal for Charlton, Bradley Pritchard, and that's one he'll remember, that's for certain. Job done for Chris Powell and all his staff.
Yes, well done, Charlton. We can hear from a couple of key men. Our man of the match, Matt Taylor, and also the scorer of the clinching goal, really, the second one, Johnny Jackson, both with Ned.
Well, congratulations to both of you. John, 4-0, excellent, outstanding results, but you probably agree it doesn't necessarily tell the whole story of the game.
Certainly not. I mean, they're a good side and they caused us a lot of problems. Second half, you know, they was pushing for the equaliser, nearly got it a couple of times. You know, great credit to them. Wore them down in the end, and I suppose 4 goals certainly flatters us. But you know, we was pretty professional. We went about our job well, and got 4 goals in the end. So, you know, last 10 it was comfortable, but before that, you know, we was in a proper game.
Yeah, Matt, would you agree with that assessment?
Yeah, without a doubt. I think that was one of the toughest tests we had this season, to be honest with you. You know, but we come here expecting a tough game, and you know the FA Cup holds that sort of thing for us. So we're delighted to come away with a win and win a draw for the next round now.
Your goal got things started, so you must be delighted on that level.
I was pleased, but I should have scored the one 10 minutes earlier, I think, to be honest with you. But it's the first goal of the season, so I'm pleased with that. But the result's the main thing, so we're delighted.
It's another win, could prove to be a very memorable season, the top of the league, and you carry on the FA Cup. John, can you give the man of the match to your colleague here, to Matt?
Well, Matt.
There can't be much worse than losing a game than you hear yourself praised by the opposition for trying hard. But I mean, that was genuinely felt, wasn't it? They made them work.
No, definitely. I think if Charlton hadn't been going so well in the league, that would have been a real banana skin. You know, any league team coming here that weren't in their sort of form, and it was unfortunate for Halifax that they took on a Charlton side full of confidence who every time they go out they expect to win, and that's, you're less likely to get the upset then.
They made Charlton work to earn their place in the second round draw. It's the draw we'll be bringing you very shortly, straight after this break, live from Wembley. The Shay emptying out now. Charlton's players warming down, having won 4-0 here against Halifax in the first round of the Cup. We'll have the draw for the second round very shortly. One talking point there, the sending off of Danny Lowe. What do we make of that?
I personally thought he was a little bit hesitant in stepping forward there. And it's one of those ones that again, because you've got a player running at him with momentum, it looks nasty. If you actually, I think he's gone in with the side of his foot. He hasn't gone in all studs, and just, it's so difficult to call them ones in that situation. Ref gets a quick look at it. I wouldn't want to hammer him for giving a red card, but I don't think it was a particularly blatantly nasty challenge.
The intent was less dangerous than the outcome.
I think when you see it slowly, he just clipped the top of the ball, and unfortunately his momentum takes him through, and it ends up looking nastier than it was.
Yeah.
I mean, it was a long way back for Charlton, back down the motorway if this hadn't gone to plan, but it's as much as you could have wanted, isn't it, for a first round potential banana skin?
Yeah, definitely, and as I said, they're in good form, they're playing with confidence, and to come here and do a solid job like that shows exactly the setup at the moment for Chris.
Well, they richly deserve their place in the second round draw. Let's go to Wembley for that now, in the company of Jim Rosenthal.
Hello, good afternoon from Wembley Stadium. There's still a warm afterglow around this place on the back of England's victory over the world champion Spain. But we're here to make the draw for the second round of the FA Cup with Budweiser. And I'm absolutely delighted to be joined by two men who came face to face in an epic encounter in this competition 40 years ago. Ray Crawford scored twice as Colchester United, an ageing team nicknamed Dad's Army, knocked Don Reedy's mighty Leeds out in the fifth round at Layer Road back in 1971. And Norman Hunter, whose goal prompted a fight back that fell just short in that 3-2 defeat. Norman did, however, get his hands on an FA Cup winners' medal. That was here the following season. Watch out for Crawley Town on the prowl again, number 2. Luton Town, they beat Northampton. They are number 3. We've got to watch out for Colchester United, haven't we? They're number 16. Charlton, who have just beaten Halifax, are number 25. Sutton United have previous, they are 26. AFC Tottenham then from deepest Hampshire, 29. Never been here before. And number 37, Fleetwood Town, knocked out League One Wickham. OK, you, Ray, you have those 40 balls in the bag. Make sure every one is in the bowl, otherwise we are all in trouble. 52 clubs are involved in the draw, and Norman is for them.
25.
Number 25. Well, they've just come through. They've just won 4-0 at the Shay. It is the League One leaders, Charlton Athletic. They won't have to travel this time.
Number 14.
They're playing number 14, Carlisle United. Greg Abbott's side having a very decent season in League One. Job done. Sweet. Thank you very much both, and good to see you both looking so well.
Thank you, Jim.
Norman Hunter and Ray Crawford. And that does conclude the draw for the second round of this season's FA Cup with Budweiser. The ties will be played in 3 weeks' time over the weekend of the 3rd and the 4th of December.
So, Charlton at home to Carlisle. We'll get the reaction of Chris Powell and the Charlton camp very shortly. Join us after the break. So, a great cup occasion here at the Shay. Halifax held out for a good long time, but ultimately Charlton emerged 4-0 winners. We can hear from both managers now. They're with Ned.
Well, gentlemen, it was a terrific cup tie, and Chris, I'll come to you in a second. 4-0 possibly flattered Charlton, you'll have thought, Neil.
Yes, I think it did. At 1-0, I felt we were very much in the game. We're pushing forward, and we're doing very well at that stage. But the second goal absolutely killed us, and it killed the tie and killed everybody else's dreams, I think. and obviously they went on and finished stronger than us at the death. But I'm certainly proud of the players. I think they did everything we could ask for. Just disappointed that the 4-0 scoreline. I felt, you know, we didn't deserve that, and certainly the players didn't deserve to be on the end of a 4-0 defeat. But, you know, full credit to them. They've done exceptionally well, and obviously good luck to Charlton in the next round, because they're having a really good season. They play good football, they pass it, and as I say, I hope they do well in the next round.
That's very good of you. Chris, 4-0. Matt Taylor said that actually that's, at certain parts during that game, that was one of the hardest games you've had all season.
I would say so, yeah. I'll concur with that, because I thought they were very, very good today. Gave us a tough game, you know, and the first 20 minutes in both halves, I felt they were stronger than us, and they had the ascendancy, but, you know, you've got to make those pay at times, you know, and our keeper made a key save at 1-0. Which kept us in the game, and then obviously, as Neil said, we got stronger as it went on, but good cup tie, and 4-0 definitely flatters us, definitely.
And on you go, you've got Carlisle in the next round. You've already met and dispatched them in the league, haven't you?
We have, yeah, but I think my club would be happy we're at home, that's for certain. It's a long way, but good team, you know, they won 4-0 yesterday, and got some good players, but you know, the way we're going at the moment, you know, we'll approach that in the right manner, and hopefully we'll progress.
Chris, Neil, thanks very much indeed. Cheers.
Thank you.
Well, Carlisle have drawn them, but nobody had really fancied playing Charlton, whatever league you were in. You know, top of League One, full of confidence.
And Charlton have already beaten Carlisle, I think, 4 a month ago. So, you know, look, they're a very good side. They're playing with a lot of confidence, but it was all about Halifax today for me, and I thought they gave a really good account of themselves. They had a genuine go at it, had an opportunity or two, didn't take them. They lived to fight another day, but I was really impressed with the way they went about it.
And Halifax, and the chairman is the very nice today, Mr. Bosomworth. He was very keen that they gave a good show of themselves as a club, and they have, on and off the pitch.
Definitely. I think it was a big occasion for the town. It's a long time since they've had an occasion like this, and they can be very proud of what they did.
OK, gentlemen, thank you. Thanks very much indeed. Tonight, don't forget, we're going to round up all the weekend's FA Cup action. 114 goals, I think, or 15 and counting. And we've got this afternoon's game between Morecambe and Sheffield Wednesday. Doubtless be more goals there. That's all highlights of all of that at 10:45 on ITV1. By way of a change from that, after Thursday's eventful win over Gabon, Brazil's World Tour continues on Monday night in Doha against the African champions Egypt. That's at 4:45 p.m. on ITV4. Tuesday we're back at Wembley as England take on Sweden. Join me, Gareth, and Sven-Göran Eriksson at 7:30 on ITV1. Thanks for your company from the Shea, Halifax. Good afternoon.